What's up, brothers? Um, Welcome back to episode 8 of Tree Talk. Um, I like to start these out with a trick or tip, and I feel like these can be like kind of a good reference for somebody who's kind of just trying to learn things, and they can get it at the beginning of the video. I can't really see too many names. I think that's Ground Pounder and Billy. What's up, guys? So I'll get to talking with you a little more. The tips and trick thing, I have to go back and look, and like, you guys are probably gonna see a few repeat things eventually, but like, I really would love to do those like eureka moments as a climber, where you feel like your career took that big step, and like you made a big improvement, or a tool that you got changed the game, and that's what I'm going to do here today. That's what the focus of this one is. This trick and tip, there's going to be a bunch of tricks and tips here. So I, I don't know how to. It would be ridiculous to try to split this into individual things. I'm just going to give you it all. We are going to focus on. Well, I'll just show you. So the other issue, I hate being in here all the time. It's stuffy. It's like just we need a change of pace. So the problem with that is that when I do the live feeds, it's getting dark. But I've thought about this a little ahead of time this time, and we're gonna move on outside. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you the tool that just changed it for me. So let's do that as soon as I see who all's here, and we'll jump out there and get started. What's going on, Billy, Jay, John? How you doing, guys? All right. So let's do this. I may have to play with this camera angle a bit to figure this out fully. Yeah, it's not going to be completely good, but it'll work. All right, so there's a lot of stuff here. You can go out, and I don't know what a GRCS costs nowadays. Um, I think I've seen it get like around 5 grand, which is absolutely insane. Most of us don't have that kind of just expendable income, so it's it's almost not even possible. But you see those devices and you're like, they got to be amazing. They got to be like, I need it to be able to do what those guys do. So a big reason for having like a GRCS would be able to lift branches. And I'm going to show you why this tool changed everything for me. This made me, it completely stepped my game up, took me to that next level, and gave me so much peace of mind knowing that a new guy can figure out how to use this very quickly, very easily, and can get extremely dialed in more than we ever could back in the day when we were using these, or simply just taking wraps on the tree, because that's pretty unpredictable a lot of times. You're not going to get the same friction on that wrap every single time. So I want to keep up with comments as best as I can, but I'm going to get into this. I'm going to show you why this is better. And Jay, you're exhausted, huh? Long day? 2400, I'm just chilling. 42. It's no Mexican money. Oh, shoot. 34.50 on tree stuff. Yeah, but some of those don't come with the additional Ballard. Like there's like limited to have the whole thing. You're, it's ridiculous. So I'm telling you, this is the GB Ballard from Greg Brown. This is probably a couple years old now, at least, and it's absolutely changed everything for me. So there's much more advanced versions that he makes, but I'm going to show you how to I'm going to show you how to be able to pre-tension lines. I'm going to show you how to set both these up. I'm going to show you how to make them both not only to where you can pre-tension them, but to where you can start lifting things if you needed to. You just need a couple other little tools, and most of you guys have these tools, so that's why I felt like this was going to be the best way to kind of do this video. So I have a GB3000 and love it. Yeah, so the GB3000 would have the winch built in, so you can you can attach it and take it off. Really, really, really cool. But I would imagine most of you probably have a porter wrap. This is homemade. You see the wiggle in it? So this was a homemade piece. An old man welded this together. It's enormous. It is crazy heavy, but he welded one together for me. Did a heck of a job. Um, yeah, it 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 worked. So I'm gonna show you now. If you were to go set this up, so oh no, there's my. That's how I climb trees right there. So let me go ahead real quick. Do that. Okay, so we have light now. We're gonna be able to do this all the way. GB Ballard for the win. That's. I'll get one of them when I'm rich and famous. Yeah, you can get one of these from Greg, and it will change everything. So with this, I'm gonna show you how to lift. I'm gonna show you how to do everything else. Like I'm gonna show you how to do everything, whether you have a porter wrap or whether you have a bollard. But I'm gonna explain why this for me is better. Um, and there's some tricks to doing some of these things throughout this that'd be kind of fun. So first, I'm gonna show you how. This is how I would set up a porter wrap. So you have this big old massive porter wrap. Um, trying to like size up the tree a little bit. These things are really nice. I think it's a loopy, so you can adjust it to where you need. Yeah, I think it's gonna be just about right. So the way it works, you have an adjustable side to this, and then there's how much adjustability you have. This whole thing. If you notice, they've made it real fat on this end, so it won't go shooting into it. Then you have a fixed end. So I would just take the fixed end. The flat part is where you want to be. And here's where it gets confusing for a guy. Like if he hooks it up wrong, which I've seen happen a lot, and if he uses it wrong. So to most you, this may seem like, oh, you couldn't mess. Yes, you could mess up doing this very easy. So I'll show you what I mean. So that's how I have it set up, just like that. So you gotta put a sling on, throw it around. Dang, I was so close. I was so close. I'm gonna have to adjust it out just as bad. Okay. So take it around. hooked up with quarter wrap. A lot of times, that's basically how you would have it set there. You could use a dead-eye sling if you want. I like using those loopy slings. They just set up real clean and nice. So, here's the other little trick. This little ratchet strap. So, it's just a simple little ratchet strap right here. I bring it around. This same ratchet strap is the trick to setting that up easy too. But what this does is it allows me to stand the quarter wrap up and keep it standing. So the reason you would want it standing is for when you're pre-tension or if you're going to try to lift something. Now, you don't have to have this. So this is a CMI rope jack. I'm going to show you how this works on the Ballard. But if you don't have that, I would say most of you probably have one of these. This is a Maze Dam rope puller. Yeah, Jay, I appreciate the thumbs up. So this is a Maze Dam rope puller. I'm gonna turn this into basically a winch with the quarter wrap. So we're set up there with the quarter wrap. Where is this stuff? I have this other sling. So what I'm gonna do with that sling is I'm gonna get it really low. Almost as low as I can get it. And I almost want to put it a little bit offset from this. So, I got this. Okay. Now, we're going to set up some rigging ropes. We'll use these as, I got some like bright climbing lines, so it's kind of easier to see it, but I don't want to knock my light down. I feel like I'm going to. Shoot, I am going to. Standing right into it. Here's another trick. I see guys whipping ropes like this. When you go to flip rope up and get it to move up there, you gotta like flip a coil into it like that. See? So okay, here we go. So now we're set up. Dang, I got that so close to the light. So the way, I'll move you a little closer with the wheelbarrow. Don't fall, don't fall. Holy cow. Alright, so now you can see the porter wrap a little easier. Now, the tricky part about a porter wrap is when you use them, you have to take the rope. Damn, I gotta remember the light. Take the rope, double it, put it through this. I'm gonna take it off this first so I can show you. So you gotta take it, double it, take it through there, and take it around this back pin. So what you end up with is like that. It goes back there behind it. So here's where guys mess up sometimes. I see them come out of there and they start wrapping like this. Now they put this crazy pinch on the rope there. You're supposed to continue your wraps however you started them. So if I started my wrap and it went this way, all my wraps need to go that way. This is too sharp of a bend, especially on this part. It's really, really kind of skinny, and it's going to pinch the rope and maybe even break it. So as you're wrapping, you're gonna wrap the same way it went in, and keep your wraps going like that. So the way you would use your maze dam to make it into a winch is pretty simple. Um, so you run it into the maze dam like this, over the back, through there. This isn't the exact kind of rope, I don't think. It's probably meant for this, meant for 3-strand. I'm sure this isn't right, but it's gonna work for our demonstration. So we're set up now on the maze dam. If I was doing this and I was going to use this a lot, I would have a smaller rope. That way I didn't have to pull so much rope through. But check it out. So now I've pulled it through until the like sewn eye is right here. So if I needed to feed some back out, I would pull some out real quick, lock that all back into place. Okay, now the way I would use it as a winch on this, I would either you could use a hand descender like this, hooking it on and then hook to it, but I don't want to do that because that'll rip the sheet, like the outside, it'll rip it off the core and leave just the core. So usually when I do this, I'll use like a prusik like this. You would just wrap this up from there. Just one, hang on, I need to, okay. 2, 3, 4, 5, let's do 6. So we want 6 wraps up on it and then run it through the eye. So now you've created a prusik knot there on this. And all you would do would be hook up your sewn eye to there and adjust that up to however high you needed it. And you would start using your maze dam just like you normally would, but instead of pulling something over, it's creating some lift. So I usually suggest when I'm doing this to only keep about like 3 wraps, 2 maybe sometimes. And as you have somebody doing this, or if you're having to do it by yourself, you have to kind of play with it back and forth. But just have somebody taking the slack in as they're cranking down on that, and it's feeding it down, 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 down. As they do that, pull it up, lock it off, and then back this out a little bit, and then you've lifted as much. If you need to, you would just keep coming down, 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 down until you run out. And if you need more, you just lock it off, readjust back up, and do the same thing until you get it to lift enough, or you know, it's done the job that you want it to do. Now, that I wouldn't suggest this to be something you do all the time, because of how kind of clunky the whole setup is. But this setup works extremely well. I've used it many times and I know it works. So, you know, I know a lot of you have a maze dam rope puller and, you know, have a porter wrap. So maybe you don't have an extra 4 grand to drop on the GRCS, but you can still create a setup that can lift. So without really going and buying any other tools. So I'm going to catch up on comments, and then I'm going to go into the Ballard and why it changed everything for me, and it's the cool things about it, because it's by far my favorite setup. So what's going on, William? Thanks for stopping in, brother. GRCS got real costly, son. Yeah, yeah, that's a pretty good one. Uh, Definitely a great way to lift when rigging. Thanks for the tips. Yeah, and I mean, you could also go take as you're, whatever it is you're trying to lift, and go hook it up with a strap and anchor the other end of your rigging rope and create a 2-to-1 on it, or 3-to-1, so you can get even extra pull with that setup. I would suggest, if you're using that kind of setup, to try to get as many extra advantages as you can up in the tree with your rigging angles, or using pulleys as mechanical advantages, stuff like that. So I don't think that'll work good. I don't see nothing. Yeah, yeah, it should. So I mean, what's going on, John? Huge fan, man. Well, that's wild to hear, brother. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, thank you a lot. I appreciate it. So now let's do the Ballard, and why the Ballard is, in my opinion, so much better. So the issue when you're using a quarter wrap is because of these sharp bend radiuses here, and the reason you got to take it through the back there and cause this bend, and you have to take so many wraps on this little tube to create enough friction. The bigger the tube, the less wraps you would have to take because of the surface area that's giving you the friction that you need. Uh, Quarter wraps are usually pretty narrow, so that's why you end up having to take so many wraps. And what happens is you end up with these curled up sections in your rope, that your rope just gets all wound up and it gets stuck in it. It'll catch a guy's hand when he's trying to let a piece run, and it just gets pretty gnarly. So um, I mean, if that's what you have as a quarter wrap, get her done. And if you need any tips or advice on it, I'll give you all I know. But I've just had some gnarly stuff happen with a quarter wrap, and I just don't trust them as much. It's not as smooth. But so here we go. Let's see. Super John here. Have an awesome night, everyone. You too, brother. You too. I'm a climber myself. You've taught me a crap ton. That's so awesome, brother. That's so awesome, John. That's cool. All right. Yeah, Jay, have a good one, brother. So, quarter wrap ends up with a bunch of little curly, pigtails in your rope, and when a guy's rigging, you don't want you don't want his rope strode out like mine is here, like this, where he's standing all in it here. Because if he's trying to let the piece run and that rope's moving fast, and he's just putting a little bit of you know of it into his hands, he's gripping, and he's just slowing it down. One of these coils grabs his leg. I got drug across the yard, and like I bounced off a few logs and ripped like a couple feet up the tree before I finally stopped. My hands and back were still on the ground. My legs were going up the tree. But that was when I was probably 17 with my dad. So yeah, it was gnarly. So we're gonna get this out of the way. And what's cool is, first of all, you guys can probably build your own of these. Just make sure whoever you have do it has good welding skills. I didn't personally do it myself because I don't have good welding skills. I paid to have it done. But it's a bit crude, it's a bit heavy, but it's definitely has gotten me through some really, really crazy hard times. So, all right. So, how I said, I don't even know if you could see that. Yeah, this strap is the best, because when you have to set up this bollard, which is somewhat heavy anyway, here's how here's how I do it. I see people fighting to try to get the ratchet straps around and then hook them up into these two holes. They're trying to. You just put one of these straps. You take the ears up through here and loosen this just a little bit. But I use this strap always as a holder for the Ballard. I wish I could say something better in the light. So yeah, I just use it like that. Then I can really kind of torque down on it. I usually keep it kind of loose, that way I can lift it up and get behind it to put the other ratchet straps in. Another little tip, my neighbor gave me these zip ties that are reusable, and these are some of the coolest things I've ever seen. It's so smart. So ratchet strap, I start with the one with the handle. It's got the anchor on it. I hook it on, which goes to the back, under, and through. Now you could hook into it, but then the claws of the hooks would probably scar up the tree, and I feel like you get a flusher hold with it behind it and towards. I'll show you up close if you want. So then I can put this in. Just kind of work it around so I know it's long enough. Okay, slide over here. There is a little tip when you're doing ratchet straps. Don't start cranking down on it too soon. Leave a little bit of a gap to where you're getting close to almost being snug, and then start there. That way you don't have a bunch of strap all up in your ratchet strap to where you max it out really quick. So, and you also don't want to tighten it all the way down and start there, because then you don't have enough of it in there to keep a good bite. So you want enough slack to where you get enough of a bite. Now, when we were messing with with the with the porter wrap, it was kind of floppy, moved all over the place. You couldn't move that thing if you tried. It is so locked in. So let me show you guys a little bit of an up close. Right on, thanks, Grandpa. I've never used this stock one until about a month ago and couldn't stand it. My 40 is gigantic, and then I have the Ballards. Yeah, my porter wrap it's abnormally big. So, but at the time I thought I would rather have it bigger. That way I could get um, more wraps on it and use it on bigger stuff. So, total different view. How's that? I think the lighting is better here. Is it? Yeah, kind of. So, so now we're locked in, but I wanted to show you, I forgot. If you look there, you see how that's hooked up? So normally I would have this little hook away from it. I don't want this hook or the ratchet strap handle to be in the way of where the rope's coming down. So usually I spin that around to the back and I use somewhere in the middle on it. Also, here's a cool way to hook up with your ratchet straps. If you look, instead of trying to hook the two rings together, it's so hard to see. I'll explain it. Instead of hooking this ring and this other ring up here, well, it's barely in it. You just put it in the strap there. It hooks up really easy, really simple. And then you have this hook as like a holder for things. So, and then the ratchet straps, the way they hook up on this version of Greg's Ballard, they go around and hook. and you get such a crazy flush setup that it's so nice. Okay, so I'm gonna get this out of the way. Now the trick that I showed you with the maze dam can also be used with the Ballard if you have one. So another suggestion, if I was just giving out tips, you can, where's that at? You could use an old truck rim to do this. You know, ratchet strap an old truck rim to the tree, and you're looking for a good bend radius on something smooth that can give you friction. So here's the issue with the maze dam, is that you have to back pull. It's like using the zigzag. You have to pull everything back out the way it went in. Okay. So I run everybody off by doing all that. Tano, what's up, my guy? No flop like the porter wrap neither. Yep. Yeah, exactly. With a porter wrap, you end up having to lift it up in the air because a lot of times as a primer, when you cut it, you want it pre-tensioned. That way it doesn't drop so much into the system and have such a hard free fall, which shock loads things more. So they're usually it's hanging, so you have to like take your rope, go put it through there, then lift the porter wrap up, and then try to get tension. And there's a little trick that's where you do this. You pull here and lift. That's kind of its own technique. It's kind of tricky for some guys to figure out, but it really, really, really helps if you're just trying to pre-tension. So now this thing, I've been in a tree so many times, been scared for my life that something's gonna go wrong, the tree's gonna break because we're about to rig this enormous piece. But Jake came so incredibly dialed in, and it's always absolutely to a T consistent with this thing that I don't have to worry. I don't have to worry that he may set it up wrong and lock the system up. I don't have to worry that like, you know, it's being super hard on my rope, or that he can't like, the less wraps you have, the less chance of things getting in a bind and getting locked up. Now you don't have to take as many wraps on this as you do a porter wrap because of how big around the actual bollard itself is, because you have surface area that you're getting all that friction from. So thank you, John. 3-inch tube legs, goodbye. Shoot, my comments got behind. Oh, really? That's gnarly, ground pounder. That's pretty cool, though. I bet it looks sick. So now you have your bollard set up. Here's where I really like this rope jack. How was that? That's pretty dead on. All right. So the way it would set up, and I get this wrong all the time. Okay. I can actually take with Greg's bollard here and just clip in behind the pole, because it's got a pole here on the back. The ratchet strap's a little bit in the way, but if it wasn't in the way, it would be super easy. Let me drop it down a little bit. There we go. Okay. So you could take and put a ratchet strap or a strap somewhere and like set it off next to it. But with the bollard, it's really nice because I can just take and clip in here, make sure everything's still lined up. Did I not put it down far enough? Oh, this is gonna aggravate me. Come on now. It's ridiculous. Okay. So, like I said, you can just clip into the pole back behind it. That's so ridiculous. It took 20 tries. So it's hooked up. Now, the way this thing works, I would have my guy take the rope in, go on the opposite side of however you have the tree jack, and I would have him take his wraps. The way it works, you go behind the first pin, which is down here. There's 4 pins, 2 on the top, 2 on the bottom, and start making your wraps. I would suggest maybe 2 wraps, then hook your tree jack up, lock in, this, lock in, and you just start jacking on that. And as you do that, I have to like keep some weight into it, that way it actually works. That thing climbs the rope and takes it in like that each time. You get that much each time. And as you're doing it, you're just pulling in slack here. So this setup really nice, works really, really good. A lot of times I'll take like to set this up, I'll take like a speed line strap and hook it up somewhere like down here on the ring. Let me show you. So it's kind of out of the way. I'll go down here on my ratchet strap and like take a speed line strap, shove it up through there, and hook it up to about the distance up there. And then you don't have to worry about it being in the way of everything. You can have it here and then hook it up. And it ends up being pretty nice, and you can get it out of the way when you don't want to use it. But it would hook up just like that, and just like before, if I had some weight into this, it would give you that much of a pull each time. And you can see it moving over here, how much lift you get out of each pull. It's a good little chunk. So yeah, that's the trick with this. This thing is really nice. I've always wanted one since I started doing tree work, and I knew there was this kind of gear. I've wanted to use one of these, and never had. My brother bought it for me, and it is so nice. You can use this to pull over trees, all kinds of stuff, but it's such a nice little tool to have, and I would suggest anybody getting one. The thing to watch out for is that it's not as bad anymore, but it does have these holes, and the reason it's got these holes is so that you don't overdo it and do too much weight. The handle's designed to break before you start ripping and breaking ropes. So don't go overboard with your handle, because that little hole right there is designed to make it break. Remember that. Now you could also do all this with fiddle blocks, which is, pulleys that have double sheaves on them, and set up a 5-to-1 down here instead of a tree jack or a maze dam, and do all kinds of lifting and stuff with it. So I was gonna get that out, but I'll show that maybe at a different time and do like its own thing. Just a little less capacity. Yep, nice and comfortable as well. If anybody is looking for a chipper, August has one for sale. Yeah, and a trick to pull. Third guy I've seen selling the 19. Him selling the same chipper. That's crazy. That's wild. So yeah, so this setup really cool. But for all you guys that are using this kind of stuff all the time, you want your ground guy to be able to really quickly pre-tension a rope on every cut. It's really simple. I would suggest this, which is take take two wraps, or yeah, take two wraps. You'll take a hand ascender, put on the rope, take a micro pulley, take this end of the rope, put it through that, run it up there, then hook it to the hand ascender. Here's what you end up with. So what it's doing is, as you pull that up and you pull that rope, you can see it moving down here with the coils, and you're pre-tightening, and you can do a whole locust. You can do a heck of a lot of weight with this thing. You could lift a lot of times if you wanted to. So the advantage to this is this micro pulley giving you the mechanical advantage. I prefer to hook this system up here. Some guys don't. Some guys will hook it up down here at the base. The reason I don't like it is because you're losing this much distance on each one. Plus, if you put it up here, the chance of the rope being able to kick out of this, it locks it in actually. So your rope could get out here and get out of the system. Now, if you hook this up here, I do the same way when I do my 3-to-1 when I do the gree. So now the rope, even if you open it, it cannot come out. It's locked in there. So the chance of it kicking out or anything like that, it can't happen. So that's a cool setup. You could do all this same stuff with a prusik like this, or a regular climbing prusik. Set it up, flip it on, same thing. You don't need to have a hand ascender. You can do it with ropes. So I have a whole bunch of stuff to start kind of packing up, and I'm going to answer some questions, and then we will finish this in that god awful stuffy shed of mine where I can barely breathe. All right, so what's up, ground pounder? How we doing, brother? Oh, my pleasure, brother. My pleasure, Dano. I seen that double setup you was doing with the. I don't know if it's hooked to a loader or what. That clip was gnarly. I missed the beginning. Looks like you covered a bunch of stuff. Yeah, just basically, if I'm being honest, one of the biggest like advancements in my career due to a tool would be the day that I got the Ballard and was starting to use it. The issue, if you always have the same guy using your, that's lowering your limbs and it never has ever changed, um, if you have a guy always that has years and years of experience using a porter wrap, cool. Um, my luck is not like that, and a lot of times they're new and have no experience, and the simplicity of the Ballard compared to a porter wrap is absolutely night and day, and like the ability to dial this in, this is not my opinion. This is the opinion of the guy that was using it and uses it on the daily. I asked him, you know, when we tried to use the porter wrap a day, and he just didn't have it. He wasn't as good, and it's just the friction is a bit more inconsistent on a porter wrap. Maybe because of the friction on those points where it goes against them rods is the only thing I can think of. Because of the face rods when it makes that sharp bend around, I don't really know. I don't really know. The issue is too much rope and a short little bend. The rope can like sticks sometimes. I don't know if anybody's ever experienced that, but when you're on those, I've never had the rope want to stick on this. I don't know if it's because it's the way it's made, it's aluminum or whatever. You have to ask Greg about all the details, but I've never had any issues with it, and I've destroyed this thing. I have put it through the ringer. Nothing has happened. Never had a problem. Still perfect. So it's chipped up as far as the paint, um, and it's got some grooves kind of in it where the ropes start to go, where they're starting to maybe put a groove. But yeah, other than that, she's pretty good. The pins are still good. I haven't checked the back pin. The back pin's got a bit of a groove in it, but yeah, it's such a good tool, and it just really changed everything for me. I'm sure other people may have a different opinion, but if I'm being just absolutely straight up, it was an absolute game changer for me, and I didn't realize it at first. The no longer getting the pigtails in your ropes, not running into that issue. Um, how quick a guy could get dialed in and be good on it was unreal to me. So, and there's been times where I'm explaining how to use the thing from the tree, and the simplicity of it, like, is unreal. It's very simple to explain. Take that rope, however it's running on the tree. If the rope's coming from over here, use this side. If the rope's coming in from over here, use this side. That way it can't possibly, if the rope's coming from over here, it won't kick out if you're wrapping from this way. If it's coming from over here, it won't kick out if you're wrapping the other way. But if I was to do it, you see how it could come out here. If the rope's actually coming from over here and I wrapped, or it's coming from over here and I wrapped over on that side, this could get out. But the best part about it is you still have this locked in with these pins. It can't get fully out ever. So yeah, I'm just a huge, huge fan, and insanely grateful to Greg. He's he's really he's really upped my game, and some people may think I'm overstating how important Greg is to like things I've done and learned, but like it's the truth. He is just an unreal human. So um, I'm pretty much wrapped up here. I can't. Well, I guess I could try to get some of these. Let's see. I want to keep up comments. I'm not even used to 40 cents. I got 9 Dang. I was in love with the 40 until I got the big Ballard. And the inside tube is steel, and the outside is aluminum. Yeah, the aluminum I think is what gives a consistent, never sticking glaze. It doesn't glaze ropes as bad. Like there's a ton of different reasons why I prefer it, but I mean to each their own. This may not be the tool for the next guy, but holy cow! I told you I was gonna get my light eventually. Dang. Well, that was not supposed to happen. That's not good. That light is killing me. My video will probably get flagged for saying the K word. Alright, I'm going to wrap this rope up and the other rope, and then we're done. We're going to go into the shed, that way I can actually talk with you guys without any issues. And if anybody had any questions about any of that, or anything else, I can answer them when I get inside. I still gotta come out and wrap all these dang ratchet straps up. You guys gonna help me, right? Since I got all this out to show you guys, somebody's gonna help me. One of you guys will. I know you will. You guys wouldn't dare let me have, like, make me wrap all this up myself. I know you guys better than that. Okay, there's the last rope wrapped up. Now we're gonna go to the shed. I'm gonna kick this light off for now. It's pretty dark out here. Oh. Hi, Dan. It was stuffy out there. Alright, I am behind on comments, but I'm going to catch up, and then we're going to finish this live feed out. Tube is 3 inch. So did somebody ask? That's weird, you would think. Should be in the same radius. That it would be the same friction. Yeah, it's the way the rope runs. Those two little points there that are like catching the rope as it comes over. The way those rods are usually attached, I don't like that. There's like a groove in there where they, it's hard for me to really explain. It's like on that tube where those little rods come through, like right here, and they go up and it makes the round part and then the square part. Right here, I got this. I got you. So, let's see. We have, there's the porter wrap, and the way those rods are welded on are like this. So it's this point right here that I don't like. This one right here. The way when the rope passes through there, the friction that's created is so inconsistent. It sometimes can start to work a groove and get in there, but it's not constant. And that like grab, stop, grab, like the jumpiness that thing creates, I think is the issue. Just in my opinion. Because the rope, you know, if you were running it this way, the rope would be pin down here. Then you have those rod things. Oh, hang on, that's supposed to go in front of that. My bad. Have that little rod thing there that does its thing. So when it goes through right there, I don't like that. That's the issue with it, because it goes in back behind it here, and then when it passes through it here, and it goes through it on the other side also. So, and I guess it would, let's see. Yeah, it would almost grab in some of these other spots too on the base, and not only the top. So, I don't know. Like, maybe I'm wrong, but those points right there is what I feel like, because I got really curious about it, and I'm like, it doesn't make any sense. It should work the same. Just like you're saying, John, but that's not the case. It's the areas of like, where it's not touching, and then if the rope gets glazed enough or stretched enough, maybe it would fit into it, and so at times it's going into it and creating more friction, times it's not. It's like, I don't know. And then that rope being coiled, even if you don't see the pigtails, it doesn't mean that they're not in the rope. So the rope's somewhat twisted up, which will make it inconsistent. And the porter wrap naturally makes one do that. I don't know why it does that. It's the way it's designed to rub against those 2 points that I was showing you and go up and around. That that's the only thing that makes any sense to me because of the change in direction to where it goes through the front, around the back, and then back around the back and back up through the front. So I don't know. It's a hard one to explain. I know what I mean, but it doesn't mean that I can articulate it a lot of times. Greg is cooler than the other side of the pillow. What's going on, Chris? I'll definitely be watching it back after. Oh, that's so awesome! Right on, man. Yeah, we just really um, discussed the Greg Brown Ballard, and like I'm just being straight with everybody. It changed me, and like it was such a game changing tool for me. A Porter app worked, but the floppy inconsistency of it, it just wasn't a tool that like I was always like, yeah, get the, this is gonna be tricky. Get the Porter wrap. No, but like when I know something's gonna be tricky and the rigging's gonna be complicated, and it's gonna need to be dead on and precise, I'm like, get the Ballard. Get that sucker hooked up. Plus, it's simple to hook up, simple to use, and insanely effective. Plus, you can see all the extra little additive things you can do with tools, or you have the option of having Greg build you the version that has an attachable and detachable winch that goes on to it. So, yeah, it's just a huge game changer and is far, like, much more affordable of a device. And I just want people to know about it. Like, if you, before you go buy a GRCS or something crazy expensive, you know, Greg's a Greg's got all the skill. So the shred shed, yeah. You see the little stack of boards. I have a longboard in here somewhere. I thought I used to. I don't even know where it went. Maybe I took it to the other room or something. Must have. I used to have a longboard in here. I made it out of an old ski, like one of them old wooden water skis. It was brand new. I don't even know if it ever got used. But I thought I had that skateboard in here. I'll show you guys right now. And then I not only did I make it, then I took and spent way too much money buying press-on tattoos from a vending machine every day because I would be bored. And I covered the whole bottom of it in press-on tattoos before I clear coated it. And it still looks really cool. Dang, I thought I had it in here. It must be on the other side of the shed. Yeah, porter wrap will get the job done though, Chris. I mean, I'm not hating on the porter wrap or saying that you can't, that it's lesser. Like, I guess I kind of am saying it's a bit lesser, but it will get that job done. It's just, for me personally, I needed a tool that was simpler, easier to learn, and a bit more effective. And it did every one of those. Because a lot of times I have a new guy, someone who doesn't know what they're doing. Like, there's been times where I'll go help a buddy and he's like, I got to rope limbs. And I would have no issues having someone who's never roped a limb before roping off that bollard. I would have no concern. It is the simplest thing to explain to somebody, show, and I really don't know that you can mess it up. You're so awesome, John. John's like, I may even watch it again. You guys are the best. That's crazy. Man, my knee. Like popped out of place and now it won't go back. Come on. Don't do it. Okay, it went back. It's like those videos where the chick puts the thing on the wall and then she starts to shake her butt. That's what I was about to do. I gotta make that pound sound song come on too, but yeah, this is too awkward. I can't do this. That's better. I feel like the first one was just too close. That one was too far away. Dan K, what's going on, brother? What's up, brother? How you doing, buddy? I was laughing at my buddy's porter rack when I seen it. It's just a notch one, and my brother has one, and it's the baby one. It's so little. Yeah, I think he has a bigger one too, but he has that little baby one. I kind of think that one's cool for if I ever had to do rigging up in the tree. I kind of think that one's kind of cool. But a lot of times if I'm just rigging up in the tree and I need a friction device, I'll go with like the aerial friction brake or the safe block or maybe even a figure eight. So. Oh, really? Actually, you know what's crazy? I have. Let me show you guys. Here's what I had. Oh. So I made this setup, and look how bent up it is. Look what we did to it. So it was set up like this. It would. I'm trying to think of how this thing hooked up originally. How did it hook up? Oh, okay, now I remember. Yeah, it went back behind the lip and went in sideways, like this. But yeah, it got toasted. I put that synthetic cord on it too, which is really nice. I gotta remember that I have this. I gotta do something with this. But yeah, I had that winch and it would bolt up to the bollard. And I used it for a long time, but then I tried to lift this uprooted tree. It was way too big. And I knew better when I did it, but I did it anyway. And it toasted it. I think the handle may be a little bent too. Yeah. But it can be straightened out. Yeah, I may do some stuff with this. We'll see. Maybe I'll set up another. I don't know. I don't really need it, so. Thanks for the information. I'll be into the VOD. Cool, man. That's awesome, Chris. I've got the only GP double bollard out here. That's cool. That is awesome. Yeah, that's a pretty sick looking setup. Doc rocks. Would you ever consider a different chainsaw when climbing than the one you currently use? Yeah, yeah, of course. Actually, I had my cameras ready one day for you guys, and I just left. We did a live feed just the other day. This is the long-winded answer for you. So we did a live feed just the other day. That tree was crazy. I ended up getting my saw stuck when I was up in the tree with this gnarly huge limb. It collapsed, pinched the saw, would not give it back. Had to get pretty creative not to lose and ruin my 201, but that same guy, I went out to his house. He's an old farmer, and he asked me if I could get this hickory down that I think the top had broken in it, and he was worried about it. It was hollow at the base, and so I climbed up it. But before I headed up, he's like, "Hey, try you want to try my saw?" And I'm like, "I'll look at it," and I was just like, "Oh God, no." And but he came around with the is it the yeah it's the Milwaukee top handle battery saw, and I was very impressed with it. He had sharpened his own chain. That I wasn't all that impressed with. But I also have to remember that I was cutting pignut hickory, which is some of the gnarliest hardwood. So the grain is crazy with that stuff. He he let me use it, and I was very, very, very impressed with that saw. As far as it being a battery powered saw, I think Zachman, or Zacchaeus, or whatever. Yeah, Zacchaeus. He uses one. I think I've seen him. But yeah, I kind of change. I use my dad's old 200T sometimes. I use my 201T sometimes, and I use a 150T sometimes. I've thought about. I think the Echo is kind of cool. 3111T or something like that. I think that's what it is. But and I've seen the. I was kind of impressed when I seen the Mark whatever new Husqvarna top handle one. I think it's Mark 7 or something like that. Um, it sounds pretty good, but a saw's just got to be like I could use that battery powered saw all the way up the tree, but when I got to the top, I had to make some spear cuts, and those are gnarly cuts to make, and if they're not made correctly, things can go really wrong, and I need horsepower for that. So the issue is a lot of saws don't have the snappy horsepower that I need, or they would I would give them a shot, you know. You gotta go right on, ground pounder. Stay safe, brother. Thanks for hanging out. Yeah, you know what? I should. Damn it, my phone. Well, we're about done. I should have applied the charger this whole time. We've been sitting here. My 201 is getting no piston imported. That's cool. Old farts here. What's up? Graduated to walking. Damn it. Yeah, I went from upstairs to my chair downstairs getting coffee. It's funny. Love my 2511T. Yeah, that just seems like a good saw. I mean, it's very snappy. And I think they did themselves such a credit by coming out with that before the Stihl 150. Like they were smart. Like it caught, and I think most people don't give the 150 even a chance because the Echo's probably a better price point, and it's proved to be such a good saw. Well, thank you, Doc Rock. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate all you guys that watch the videos, and maybe you don't feel like leaving a comment or don't feel the need to leave a comment, but I see the videos, even the live feeds, get their consistent views, and yeah, I've been stoked to see the the videos do good. But at the same time, I'm just trying not to pay attention to that kind of stuff because I think that's what kind of burnt me out before. Because I would try to put out more content, and it wouldn't get. The more I put out, the less it was being viewed, and it takes a lot of work sometimes. So just kind of got burnt. But yeah, I've been really stoked on the way things are going. I expected videos to not really be watched as much anymore because guys are out working. But I think if you're anything like me, before I go do anything, I'll like pop in a couple videos and get pumped watching them, and then I go. So, but other than that, guys, this was fun as always. You guys are the best. West Coast is coming out with a 201 muffler, and it's 3 ounces. That's cool. That's awesome. There's that special Dano sauce, huh? All right, guys. Well, hey, thank you. This was episode 8. We do tree talk every week. I just don't see us beating the last run. What would we? How many? I know we were over 100, or maybe two. I don't even remember. We did a lot last time, so it's gonna be hard to beat it. But guys, hopefully I see you next week. Stay safe and have a good week. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.